Two things strike me in today's, what's going on today. Because today, as we know, we celebrate Palm Sunday when Jesus entered into Jerusalem and the joy that he entered among. I mean, people were laying palms at his feet and welcoming him as a king. And it always strikes me that that's what we celebrate today, but also linked to it, and especially in the gospel that we just heard, is that in Jesus' time, in a few short days, it's going to change. And it's going to change drastically. It's going to go from a celebration, a welcoming, a king, to crucify him, crucify him. Think about that. Celebration of a king, welcoming of a king, to being flogged, to being crowned with thorns, being nailed to it, and then carrying the crossbeam of the cross, and nailed to the cross and dying on the cross. Huge difference. And there's one thing in there that caught my attention yesterday, and I just can't, and it just always just strikes me, is that, let me see if I can find it again. With loud shouts, however, they persisted in calling for his crucifixion, and their voices prevailed. With loud shouts, however, they persisted in calling for his crucifixion, and their voices prevailed. And what I take to my own personal prayer is, what was the percentage of the crowd that was yelling so loudly? Was it 1%? Was it 2%? But their voices prevailed. And boy, doesn't that happen to us? With the voices coming from the world, with the voices that maybe come from our own family and friends saying, why are you Catholic? Why do you, Ash Wednesday, what is that about? Holy Week, what are you talking about? Why do you still pray? Why do you still make the sign of the cross? Why do you still go to church? Why do you do this? Why do you still believe? Over and over and over again. The voices. But my brothers and sisters, what we're moving into and what is at the summit of our faith is the Eucharist. It's the risen Lord. And it's the Eucharist and the risen Lord that we draw that strength from. That when those voices, as few as they are, being so loud and so annoying, and let's just face it, so obnoxious, are ringing in our ears, is the presence of the risen Christ in our hearts that gives us strength. And it's in that Eucharist, it's in the resurrection that we believe. That is our hope. That is our faith. That is what we draw strength from. And when we go through those times in our lives where we're journeying with Jesus to the skull, or we're journeying with Jesus and we're in the garden and we're praying to God to take away this temptation, but not our will, but God's will be done. When we journey with Christ, he gives us that strength. That is also that belief that is always, always, always in our hearts. And the way that we turn to that is especially by prayer, just as Jesus did. It's also in that community. It's also in acts of charity. It's also giving it over to the Lord and saying, Lord, these voices are so loud. As Paul says in one of his letters, Christ is our shield, our strength. Put on the shield of Christ. And it's that shield, it's that resurrected presence of Christ that we put on, that we give over to him, especially when those voices are so loud. So as we continue with our Eucharistic celebration, and as we enter into this holy time of year, Holy Week, let us always continue our journey with the Lord, uniting our sufferings to his, uniting whatever it is that we're going through to him, knowing that on Easter Sunday we rise to new life in, with, and through Christ. Amen? Amen. Let us stand now and profess our faith.